This is the Good Government Show.
I'm the only bankrupt city in America. And then I get that strange look like, I don't know if I want to talk to you, feel sorry for you, or like you asked, why did you even choose to be the mayor when you're in a bankrupt city? The messaging that we're putting out this year, this is the year of good government. That's coming from our receiver, that's coming from me. That's one of our missions this year, is to demonstrate how good government can make a really quick change to a city that has a bad reputation on so many levels. As an engineer, deep in my DNA is solving problems. Chester has had a lot of problems. What I'd say to the last administration is if you don't recognize something as a problem, you're not even going to try to solution it. And then you win the election, and then the light goes off in my head. Oh my God, now I got to lead this thing. Now I got to do this thing.
This episode of the Good Government Show is all about corruption, greed, bad management, bad government, and finally, some good government. Welcome to the Good Government Show. I'm Dave Martin. First, help us share the message of good government by liking us and sharing us where we are on all our social media and your favorite social media. Make sure to review us and share us everywhere. We all need to talk about good government. Chester, Pennsylvania is bankrupt. The city is in receivership. It is, as Mayor Stefan Roots put it himself, quote, in the dumps financially, unquote, and it has been for a long time. That's what he's going to tell you. My conversation with Mayor Roots was an interesting look into how to manage a city that's trying to claw its way out of its current predicament. Chester does have a few things going for it, as you'll hear, and it's a historic city too, this small city just outside of Philadelphia. But there is good news and some good government. Mayor Roots has a plan. He ran for office with his eyes wide open. He served on the city council and he knew what he was getting into, and he welcomed the challenge. So, coming up, a lesson in turning around a city, or at least trying to, with Chester, Pennsylvania Mayor Stefan Roots. We have a new partner here on the Good Government Show, HelloNation. This is a new digital magazine that showcases the best of cities across the nation. We'd all prefer if good news traveled faster. At HelloNation, positive stories don't just get told, they get amplified. HelloNation helps businesses, leaders, and communities share positive stories that matter, building trust, credibility, and meaningful connection. Through professionally produced podcasts, digital features, and targeted distribution, HelloNation positions you as the answer regular folks are looking for, while expanding and scaling your digital footprint across the platforms that people trust. Good news deserves momentum. Your city or your business can help spread the word of good news across the nation. At HelloNation, they don't just have advertisers, they have advertisers. Editorial content from trusted community leaders and cities that are helping spread the good news. Let HelloNation lift you up and lead the conversation. Visit HelloNation.com to learn more. Once you wrap up this episode of the Good Government Show, give a listen to our friends over at Good News for Lefties. This daily podcast highlights news stories that show there's more good news out there. Other people in government are really trying to do the right thing. That's Good News for Lefties. Listen where you're listening now. Welcome to the Good Government Show. I'm happy to have with me Stefan Roots, who is the mayor of Chester, Pennsylvania. Welcome to the Good Government Show.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So I said, tell me about Chester. We're here at the Conference of Mayors. You walked by my table. I said, tell me about Chester. And you said, we're the only bankrupt city in America.
It's the attention getter when I'm in a group of mayors. I said, I got something that none of you guys have. And they look at me like, what could it be? And I said, I'm the only bankrupt city in America. And then I get that strange look like, I don't know if I want to talk to you, feel sorry for you, or like you asked, why did you even choose to be the mayor when you're in a bankrupt city?
Well, let's start there. Why did you choose to be mayor when you're of a bankrupt city?
Well, it wasn't bankrupt when the choice was made, but I knew we were close. So we were in state oversight. It's called Act 47 in the state of Pennsylvania for many years. And at 2020, the governor at the time was Governor Wolf. He looked at the city of Chester's pension fund for its police officers and said, you guys only have 6 months of money left. I'm throwing the flag. You're going to be in receivership. So a receiver was assigned to the city of Chester in 2020. I think it was August of 2020 or sometime in the midsummer. Okay. Long before I was, well, not long before, but when I made the decision to run for mayor. After 2 years of receivership, which is usually the term of receivership, if it's not settled by then, you re-up for another 2 years if the governor or if the state determines that's what's needed. But right at the end, they said, Chester needs to go into bankruptcy. And it was the receiver on behalf of the city put us in bankruptcy.
Was it the right thing to do?
It was probably long overdue.
Okay.
Yeah, it was overdue for sure. So yes, it was the right thing to do.
How did Chester get in this condition of bankruptcy? What happened? What bad government happened to send you down this road?
Just poor fiscal management. But the smoking gun, if you will, was the fact that the previous administration failed to keep up with the MMO, the minimum municipal obligation to contribute to the police pension fund.
How did that happen? Was there no oversight? Was everyone complicit and corrupt? Was it just horrible mismanagement?
It was horrible mismanagement. That's the best way to put it. But there was also fiscal problems. So when I say bankruptcy or some adjustments should have been made prior, especially if we were under state oversight for as long as I said we were, in regular everyday terms, you could say we robbed Peter to pay Paul. We just robbed the wrong Peter.
Was anyone sounding the alarm?
Yes, the state auditor general was sounding the alarm.
Anyone in Chester? Were any of the citizen watch groups or?
Unfortunately, the citizen watch groups aren't very strong. But what was fooling so many people was at the beginning of every year, the mayor for 5 years in a row, the same mayor, was saying that we have a balanced budget. We have a balanced budget. I'm presenting a balanced budget. And you and I can both balance our budget if we're not paying our electric bill or if we're not paying our car note. And, people just weren't digging enough into what was going on the budget, except some former people in the administration who saw that state pension obligations weren't being met and was calling the alarm, but pretty much to a body of people who just didn't understand what was going on or what was going to occur if the can just kept being kicked down the road.
So before we turn on the microphones, you said you were with the city council for 2 years. Mm-hmm. So you knew what was going on. You saw the bankruptcy. You saw the fiscal problems. You saw all that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, I was reporting on it even before then as a community journalist.
Okay.
So I started a community newspaper back in 2006 and eventually just got around to just covering news stories that was in the mainstream press and dissecting it down in a fashion in which my community could understand. So I saw these things. It wasn't a secret.
Okay. You just said it wasn't a secret. Did everybody know what was going on?
No,
Did everyone know there was a problem?
It was so complicated that most people, with so many issues going on in our city, it's just a lot. So people just weren't receiving the message, absorbing the message, or even responding to the fact that the fiscal people are just concerned in my town of day-to-day situations. Can they put food on the table? Will their son come home at night? Can we keep the lights on? Can we put food on the table? So they just trust that the government leaders that are running the city, not that they may have voted for them, but that are running the city are doing the right thing.
Were there any signs, outward signs? Streets weren't being plowed, traffic lights weren't being repaired, street lights weren't being repaired, police cars weren't being serviced. Were there outward signs of problems?
Probably yes, but people had come to accept the things that weren't up to par with communities just maybe 3, 4, 5 miles away from our city.
So let's just explain to folks, Chester, Pennsylvania is a Philadelphia suburb?
It's considered a Philadelphia suburb. We're really close to the Philadelphia airport, 10 minutes away. We're a small town of, well, depending on how you consider small, 35,000 residents. 70% of the residents are in rental units. So it's a 70-30 split between renters and homeowners. Poverty rates about 30%, bachelor degrees, maybe 8 to 10%, racially about 75% black, 10 to 15% Hispanic and growing pretty fast. The number is probably bigger than what's reported. And, about 10% white. A lot of assets, though. It's a great city if you're an urban planner. If you look at it for its assets, like I-95, a major highway runs right through us. We're right between Wilmington, Delaware, and Philadelphia. Like I said, the Philadelphia airport's 10 minutes away. That's an international airport. The Delaware River runs right through us.
And if I'm not mistaken, isn't Chester sort of a very old historic city?
It is the first city of Pennsylvania. It is where William Penn landed, and it was settled in 1644 became a city in 1682. Chester has the court. There's a courthouse right outside of City Hall called the 1724 Courthouse. That's not the address. That's the year it was founded. It's the longest continuously used public building in America.
Really?
And we're sitting in Washington, D.C. To be able to say that with confidence in a town with all the historic buildings, it still exists.
Do you have an office in City Hall that you step into and look around and go, wow, look at this?
I do.
Benjamin Franklin sat right here in this office at once.
Well, maybe Ben, I don't know if Ben came down, but certainly William Penn, and it was a frequent spot of George Washington. So with the Revolutionary War, battles of Brandywine being really close by, Washington met with Rochambeau and Lafayette, and there's trails that run right through our historic city.
Okay.
And you know that Washington came up the Delaware River, so he probably went right past the town on his way up to...
Probably did. So we painted a little bit of a picture of Chester. What made you decide to say, I can fix this?
I knew what was going on. Did I know I could fix it? I didn't know if I could fix it, but I did know I had help. So coming in, I had the training wheels of the receivership and all the resources that the governors could give us. So Governor Wolf was just moving out. Governor Shapiro was coming in. The Department of Community and Economic Development, DCED, that's where our receivers come out of. And they were really committed to fixing the problems that they had long seen from a state perspective in the city of Chester, but what they needed was a participating government. They got a lot of resistance from our last administration. So if nothing else, once I got on council, saw what was going on, in 2 years became mayor in that same city, the first thing that the receivers and I both knew was going to happen was a cooperative government. There wouldn't be resistance. Why was the last administration so resistant to free help? Millions of dollars of free help of experts.
I'm guessing it was the exposure. Anybody looking under the hood.
That was it. It was the exposure. So much was exposed, but some of it was historic too. So it wasn't all the last administration's fault. It was just that the last administration came in, seeing the issues, they weren't committed to fixing any of them. But they were quick to say, hey, we're not to blame for everything that's going on. This is the can had been kicked down the road for a long time. So really happy to be the mayor right now where things are turning around in that different direction. We're kicking the can back. We're kicking it, not down the road, but off the road.
All right. So this is the Good Government Show. You are trying to turn the city around.
You know what? I'm going to stop you there because you said Good Government Show and it clicked. This is the year of good government. Good. That's one of the messaging that we're putting out this year. This is the year of good government. That's coming from our receiver. That's coming from me. That's one of our missions this year, is to demonstrate how good government can make a really quick change to a city that has a bad reputation on so many levels. It's been distracting to investors and developers coming in. They just haven't wanted to join Chester in our growth. What I'm trying to do is get people to join the fight for Chester, just to bring it back to the economic engine that it was in our county and being so close to Philadelphia.
So what good government are you implementing? Where do you start? Where does one start?
I had this conversation last night to unbelievable ears of mayors who, we were talking about forms of government. And Chester has what is called the commission form of government. I am a mayor, which means I'm the chief executive officer of the city. So I'm on the executive side, but I'm also president of city council. So when we have a city council meeting, I'm right up there voting along with my 4 council members. Okay. It's a confusing form of government. As my receiver would say, it really is a city charter that supports machine politics. As mayor, traditionally, the mayor would, amongst his 4 council members, assign them to be department heads in city business. And it wasn't working. We did not have qualified people in finance or streets or recreation or public safety. So as we knew we were going into bankruptcy, very smartly, the receiver, the year prior, as he's making a budget for the year that I'm coming in as mayor, budgeted for real directors to take over. Okay. But we couldn't just kick council out of their roles. And they fought very hard because they wanted to be directors, 3 of them being very new. It went all the way to the state Supreme Court for them to decide in favor of the receiver in as long as we're in receivership and their plans of adjustment, that Chester will allow the mayor not to assign council people to their.
So you got your directives.
We got our directives. There was a fight in the beginning and very disappointed council members, but we're 2 years in now, and most of them are looking at the reality of the situation. They really don't want to be directors of departments. We hired very well in year one of my administration.
Okay.
And it was...
So it's working.
It's working, but it's also surprising because who wants to come, like you said, why would I want to be a mayor of a bankrupt city? Why would you want to work for a bankrupt city as a department head? Well, where I thought we'd be struggling to find real talent, it was a real challenge to choose amongst the people who wanted to take on these roles.
Because, pick a topic, transportation. If you get an opportunity to come into a city and revitalize it, I mean, that's got to be a great feather in your cap, and not to mention a great professional challenge.
I took that for granted. I really didn't, and you hit it right on the head. The people wanted to take that challenge. They're a little older, and they're also not looking at it as a career.
Okay.
But they're looking at it as an opportunity to fix something with a group of other people that can have an impact pretty immediate, look good on their resume. So when they move on, or if I move on, I know they're going to come either with me, but they're certainly not going to stay in an environment in which it was in the past.
Of your new good government programs and initiatives, which is the one that's done the best?
Ooh, boy. Oh, boy. That's a good one. Finance has to be it, though.
Well, I guess so.
Well,
everything stems from, do we have the money?
Yeah. So we've had 2 chief financial officers in the 2 years I've been mayor. The first one was good. The second one is better.
Okay.
That's all I can say. So but that was the core of what we needed to get done.
Is get your financial house in order.
The second one was our, I guess we would call it license and inspection department. We put it under the umbrella of our community and economic development. But our city has changed so much over the years. Like I said, we're 70% rentals, 30% residential. It wasn't always that way. It used to be a small community with everybody on the homes. But the department that inspects these buildings never changed.
Wow.
And when you talk about, I hate to say the word corruption, and I'm not going to say corruption because I don't have facts, but as far as getting that job done properly by doing inspections, by people who are now renovating a lot of homes that were left blighted and abandoned, getting the proper permits, for doing this work safely. We were lacking.
There are probably a few envelopes sliding across desks.
Well, I don't have any evidence of that, but what I do have evidence of is that a lot of people who are working for the department who aren't licensed to be inspectors.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we're one of the few cities where these guys are in a union. So it made it a little difficult for us to say, hey, you've been here a few years now and you continue to fail these tests. That's not what we want to see.
So is there now good government in Chester, Pennsylvania?
It is. People are really starting to look at Chester now as something that they would invest in, whereas before it was, are we throwing good money after bad? We have some super assets.
Such as?
The Philadelphia Union Major League Soccer team. Their stadium is in the city of Chester. So for the past 15 years, they've had the stadium. Unfortunately, they were built in 2008 when the banks just went crazy. They couldn't develop everything that we thought would be on that campus, like residential and commercial on a waterfront. But the stadium did get built. They've continued to commit, evidenced by the fact that they've been with us for 15 years. This past June, we cut the ribbon on a $100 million sportsplex. So it's a practice facility for
Is that all part of that same field area?
It's all in that same 25, 30 acre area.
They used to or still do host the collegiate rugby tournament there?
Oh, wow. You remember that. I was talking to somebody about that. Yes.
I played.
Did you play?
No. I did not play. I went. I didn't play.
No, they don't. They did it 7 straight years, though.
Yeah. And that's the area we're talking about.
That's the same
It's
stadium.
right in the shadow of the airport, just past that a little bit.
Yeah,
a huge athletics complex.
Yeah, but the new place is just outstanding. So with Philadelphia,
we'll get the CRCs back and I'll come back.
I wish they would.
Yeah,
I loved it. But World Cup is coming.
Yes.
There's going to be games played in Philadelphia.
Okay.
One of the teams in that grouping is the Chester located Philadelphia Union Sportsplex will be one of the practice facilities for one of the teams.
Okay. So there'll be some soccer out there.
Yeah. So last year they had Club World Cup. Chelsea was the team that practiced there, and they ended up winning the Club World Cup. So we were excited about that.
So what else is going on? Give me some more good government in Chester.
Good government really is right now working with our governor, Governor Shapiro. I like to tease him sometimes, and being in receivership gives me a direct line to the governor's office, which is unique for the city of Chester. He's helping out a lot. He's really famous for when I-95, there was a fire, a portion of I-95 just broke. And in 2 weeks, he got it fixed. So my thing to Governor Shapiro in a fun way, but in a serious way, if you can fix a highway in 2 weeks, you can fix my city in 4 years. Right. And he is really committed to our recovery as a city from where we are fiscally now to priorities that he's asked me to share with them. And some of it is recreating our downtown areas. So, downtown revitalizations in former industrial towns around the state is being invested in. So I'm looking at things he's investing in that we need. We have a college in our town, a university, Widener University, and it's been in the city for a lot of decades, but we're not a college town. I have to believe we're one of the few cities in America that has a university, but we're not considered a college town. So to connect the front door of City Hall up the same street that 3/4 of a mile you're on a university campus is the corridor in which we're going to liven up so that we can make that connection.
So you're getting your financial house in order.
Financial, that's number one.
Right. And as a result of that, you're seeing more investment.
Not yet. I'm going to be real honest. Not yet. But not yet. I need housing that isn't just affordable housing. Okay. When I sit in conferences like we are today, the U.S. Conference of Mayors, a lot of it is, we want affordable housing. We need affordable housing, but not in our backyard. Not in our backyard. In my city, it's in our front yard. Okay. There's too much affordable housing. There's too much public housing. There's too much Section 8 going on. But I have industry on the waterfront. I'm so close to Philadelphia. It could be a town that could support working class homes and even luxury housing. But again, Chester has been in the dumps for so long financially. The investors, the developers are like, you can't support $2,000 rents in Chester. And every time that a local developer or a local business owner takes his storefront and puts a $1,500, $1,800, $2,000 apartment with all the new amenities, it doesn't even go on the market. They get snapped up.
All right. Well, sounds like you've got your work cut out for you, but you're on the right path.
You know what? I can get a win every day. And most days I do.
All right. We're going to come back. We're going to talk a little bit about something else in government. The Good Government Show is sponsored by Our. That's OUR for Our Community. Get involved. We hear that all the time from government leaders. Our co-brands with your government's name and logo. Your staff and the people you serve are connected and part of your community. From any device, your members provide reliable data and meaningful feedback. Ask a question like, do we want more parkland or better homeless services? More engaged conversations come through the Our app. Visit Ourco, that's OURCO.com, and book a demonstration. After you get done with this episode, hear more good government stories with our friends at How to Really Run a City. Former mayors Kasim Reed of Atlanta and Michael Nutter of Philadelphia, and their co-host, journalist and author Larry Platt, talk with guests and other mayors about how to really get stuff done in cities around the nation. Check them out where you're listening now or through their nonprofit news site, thephiladelphiacitizen.org/podcasts. That was the hard part. This is the easy part. Define good government. What is good government?
Good government is what everybody talks about. Everyone's accountable for what they're doing. I got to say fiscally responsible. I don't like the word transparent, but in a way, there's got to be a way that the people of the city can see how government works for them. And the most important thing is for the government to be working for the people in the city. So listening to them, understanding what they need, and sometimes convincing my residents, my citizens, that we might know a little better than you as to how we can bring resources to your city. So it's a two-way conversation that we have to be on board with and accepting.
That's hard.
It is very difficult. But it's a city that's been stomped on for so long from so many forces. You know, the county hasn't supported us. Businesses have left us. The white flight has occurred. It's a shallowed out city that population-wise is half the population that it was at its peak. Our biggest industry was shipbuilding on the Delaware River, Sun Shipbuilding, which is part of the Pew situation. That ended in the 40s. You know, it was at its peak in the 40s. 35,000 people in my city worked for that one employer.
Wow.
Right now, there's only 35,000 people in the city. That's like every man, woman, and child waking up every day and going to the same employer. It's hard to believe.
So if people are frustrated with government, especially in Chester, especially with your administration, what should they do?
Let us know that they're frustrated, and they have no problems telling us. Okay. I just went to a session on how to deal with the media. And it was interesting to see the different outlets and we talked about it a little bit, the various ways we have to use. But Facebook is the water cooler in my town.
Okay.
And as many things that we put out there, it all comes back to Facebook. Chester is a town that's perfect for Facebook because we're only one zip code.
All right.
The zip code is the whole town.
Okay.
So, you know, if you want to reach the people in my city, you go on Facebook. If you want to know what they feel, you go on Facebook. If you want to...
More so than Instagram or TikTok?
Look, don't even mention those others.
Okay.
It is a Facebook town.
All right. Well, that's good. You know, you have at that forum. What drew you to public service? What made you run first for city council and then mayor?
It really took a friend to tap me on the shoulder to really convince me that I'd be good in this line of work. My background
is... Are you still friends?
My background is engineering. I was working for a wastewater treatment company. The county wastewater treatment facility is in my hometown of Chester. I was very happy with my job. I was getting paid very well, but I also knew I was coming close to the end of my career. I just had my 65th birthday. I was 60 when he tapped me on the shoulder and I says, do I want to be out on cold days like this dealing with water, or would I like to sit in a cushy office and make decisions?
Oh, I'm sure it's a cushy office.
As an engineer, deep in my DNA is solving problems. Chester has had a lot of problems. What I'd say to the last administration is if you don't recognize something as a problem, you're not even going to try to solution it. I saw the problems as a community journalist, as a councilman, and now as the mayor with the help of the receiver and a good city manager. We're just tackling problems all day long, every day. And it's fun to be with a group of people who are data driven, who have the resources that we have done this type of work all across the country. So it couldn't be a perfect time to have a perfect guy like me as mayor.
Is it a full-time job, city mayor?
I'm giving it a full-time effort. It's not considered a full-time job. Okay. And, I was going to give it 2 years to decide, is this right for me? Does it fit the lifestyle? Am I making a difference? Do I like the work? Can I afford to live off this salary? All except the last one.
Yes.
Check. But, I can make other moves.
You're not the first mayor I've heard say that. Yeah. Did you see yourself running for office?
Never.
Did you always
So let me tell you what it was.
You...
It was my community journalism.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Swarthmore College or the community of Swarthmore? Very rich community. Right. Literally 7 minutes from Chester.
Okay.
A guy bought the local paper in Swarthmore and decided that he wanted his readers to have more of a perspective in their reading than just Swarthmore itself. He talked to a Swarthmore professor. The professor said, hey, add Chester content to the Swarthmorean, which is the name of the paper. He thought his buddy was crazy. Like, why would Swarthmore people be interested in Chester issues? Well, the professor knew that my blog was a favorite amongst the Swarthmore community. They just are bleeding hearts. They want to help when they can.
Okay.
So there was so much good content on my blog that the guy reached out to me and we became partners kind of on a journalistic level. He's very wealthy. But he was the one who kept saying, you should run for mayor, you should run for mayor. I thought it was a joke until one day he invited me over his house. I thought it was going to be me and him enjoying some of the libations that he collects.
Yes.
And there was another guy in the room. And I was like, oh, this isn't about having fun on January 4th, 2020. He's having a meeting. And it was a political consultant.
Oh, all right.
And the two of them did their best to convince me why I would be a good candidate for a 2024, 4 years in the future, shot at mayor. And I said, you know what? If I say yes today, and tacitly I did, I got 4 years to get out of this or 3 years to get out of this, right? And then they drop this on me like 5 weeks later. Well, there's a council seat coming up or a council election coming up. Maybe we should put a campaign together. Maybe we should run and see if we can beat this machine or at least challenge the machine to see if it's even worth the effort of becoming mayor. And we, in a landslide, won the council election, which pretty much let us know that, running for mayor, although against a very established incumbent, we had a good shot at going and doing it. And then it was, you win the election, and then the light goes off in my head. Oh my God, now I got to lead this thing. Now I got to do this thing.
So 2 years in city council, 2 years as mayor, that makes you a government insider. What would you like people to know about government, especially about what's going on in Chester?
Wow. I can say this. This is a new industry for me, government. And a lot of people confuse politics with government. And I'll tell people all the time, I'm really good at politics. I've been in the corporate world for a long time. It's a lot more vicious. It's a lot more, the stakes in the corporate life politically prepared me for the politics of being a politician. But government is new, and I'm learning every day. I'm learning in a city that has just about every problem that big and small cities have around the country. So when it comes to government and governing, number one, having an eye and ear and a penchant for solving problems is number one. But I'm working with a cooperative group right now that's turning a city around.
Do people know that?
People don't really pay attention to receivership. Even all the big issues that are going on that they're handling.
Do they understand what's going on? Do the people understand?
No, it's too complicated. It really is too complicated. I mean, we're dealing with monetizing our water utilities. We're dealing with environmental pollution, environmental racism.
And do you make an effort to explain this at city council meetings or city meetings?
Not at city meetings, no. But we do a lot of communication with regard to the issues. We've had bad authorities get formed, like stormwater authorities that have us $40 million in debt. Beside the pension problem, it's too much for a regular person to comprehend. There's too many court cases that are pending or stayed because of bankruptcy. But what they do see is a mayor that's out there that's dealing with their problems. We've just had a massive snowstorm. Never in the history of Chester have people in the city of Chester said, oh my God, you guys are doing a fantastic job. Okay. It's always been.
That's got to be nice to hear.
It is nice to hear, but it's effort. And that's what we are showing people. We're showing people how much resources it took, how much our guys are out there, how many hours.
What are you doing to restore people's faith in government in Chester?
Showing up and communicating. That was one thing that I saw that was drastically missing in the former administrations. There wasn't a direct line of communication with the people. I'm helped by the fact that I've got a younger staff. I've dedicated my chief of staff, and I have a communications director. I mean, they're constantly out there on that platform of Facebook, but all the others.
Yes.
Communicating little things to people in small bite-sized messages of what's going on in city government. I get those distractors that sometimes say, I'm so tired of seeing pictures of you. But the picture you see of me is at some event, at some school, working with my own staff, doing the work that the city needs.
Are you in the grocery store? Are you pumping gas in town?
Let me tell you something.
Are you at the barber shop?
I think my biggest personal joke to myself is it used to be a time I can go get a loaf of bread and come home.
Yes.
A loaf of bread now is like a 20-minute, 30-minute ordeal. Honey, I'm talking to, it could be somebody who's a drug addicted person. It could be a former classmate, somebody I played sports with, somebody from out of town. Like everybody knows the mayor.
Okay.
In my small town because we all know each other. Yeah. Right. They know where you live. They know your phone number.
What's the best thing about being mayor of Chester?
It's personal and it's for the city. The best thing for me is to know that I grew up in that town. Childhood for me in the city of Chester was phenomenal. The kids now don't have the same opportunities, don't have the same fun that I had. So to try to bring some of that back for the young people love seeing the mayor come into their classrooms. So to get that connection, which I never had as a kid, is great. But to be the center of what we started with, the only bankrupt city in America. I get help from the people here at this conference. They're telling me, oh, you should have did this, you should have did that. And I listen to them, I says, no. I don't say no. Yeah. But I'm like, I'm the guy you need to come to. I'm the cautionary tale here.
All right.
The answers are coming here. And believe it or not, there's a book coming out. There's a guy out of San Diego who saw that we were in bankruptcy, asked if he can come to our city. He was going to do another book, but there's a book coming out called Mayor.
That'll be about you. So I have been to Chester, it turns out, but if I'm coming back and meeting up with you, where are you taking me? What's the one dish I have to try in Chester? What is the cuisine of Chester? What are you famous for? Where are we going?
Yeah, I'm glad I have a place to take you now.
Okay.
Because Chester has not been known for its sit-down eateries.
All right.
But most recently, 2 restaurants have opened right outside the front door of Chester City Hall.
Okay.
One's from a local, the other from a group in Philadelphia. So I'm really happy. Chester is, like I said, mostly a black town with Southern roots. Migration folks are still there. So soul food is the answer. Some of the best food is in the bars in the city of Chester.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're going to eat.
All right.
But I've got to take you down to that Sportsplex, though.
Okay.
That thing will blow your mind, and the office building next to it. It's Class A office space that people would love. And it's not just about the city of Chester, though. We're a part of a bigger region. So more than likely, we're going to go to Philadelphia and have fun. That's the place where you have fun.
Cheesesteak?
Cheesesteak.
That's what Philadelphia is.
The hoagie was invented in the city of Chester. I could take you to show you where that was.
All right.
But cheesesteaks, you have to know where to go. Just don't go anywhere.
Pats or Cheetos? Or
neither.
Better? Neither. I've heard that before.
Neither.
All right. This is the Good Government Show. We always try to bring it back to a good government. Tell me about a good government project that you're excited about that you've been able to implement.
Sure. So this guy named Alfred Deschamps was an art collector. He had a 22-acre plot right there on in the city of Chester. He left a will for the city of Chester to maintain his property. The people in the past in the city of Chester did not do a good job with the endowment that was left, and the county took over this property maybe close to 40 years ago.
Yeah. And
the county really didn't care about it. So it became the old Deschamps. They call it Deschamps Park because it's a lot of open space. Finally, that's going to be a highlight of our city. It's one of the few places that we have that much contiguous land that you can build on. 60% of it still has to remain open space. We talked earlier about connecting the front door of City Hall to Widener University. That's right in the middle. That's going to be the linchpin right on the drive.
Okay.
It will have some housing. It's surrounded by senior living facilities, so there'll be like that tranquil space for people to hang out. It will be the symbol to everybody who comes through Chester, because you can't get through Chester without going down this town, that, oh, finally they've done something to that space. So we're really deliberate in prioritizing places that you can see, places you can feel. We don't want to be in the back on some back road, fixing things unless it's broke. And developing market rate housing is really important to us. And some of that is we need help on the infrastructure side. We need water lines that you can tap into. When you have wooden water lines from the, late 1800s or just, the clay pipes, we still have wood, we still have old clay. As the city has depopulated, blight has meant knocking down homes. What is left are just big plots that developers look at and say, hey, I would love to build there a multi-family unit or a new row houses or new modular houses. But if they're burdened with the cost of having to pay for that main that needs to be replaced in order to support, small commercial business, strip malls or housing, it's not working.
Well, you have certainly got your work cut out for you.
I love it. I
love that you came by the table here at the Conference of Mayors and said, I'm the only city that's bankrupt. I said, well, let's talk about that. So good luck. Congratulations on stepping forward, and appreciate your time. Stefan Roots, you are the mayor of Chester, Pennsylvania, and you are emerging from bankruptcy. And that's good government. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
The Good Government Institute has a new partner, the Charles F. Kettering Foundation. I really like their podcast, The Context, and I bet you will too. They have a new series called Democracy Under Construction. The show is hosted by historian Alex Lovett, and he looks back at the first 250 years of U.S. history. Alex digs into the moments that have pushed us towards an inclusive democracy. You can find it wherever you're listening right now, or visit kettering.org and give him a follow. Want to hear more about good government? Check out another show I host, Leading Iowa, Good Government in Iowa Cities. I host the show with Brad Kavanaugh, Mayor of Dubuque, Iowa, and the immediate past president of the Iowa League of Cities. Together, we talk to leaders in Iowa cities. We talk about what works and what good government looks like in Iowa. Join us right here where you're listening now. That's Leading Iowa, Good Government in Iowa Cities. First, let's talk about the fact that a community news reporter is now mayor of a city. We like that here on the Good Government Show. Mayor Stefan Roots seems like the right guy with the right ideas. Chester is on the move. A new sports facility is a good first step, but what's important here is the mayor knows what the problems are and he's addressing them. And that's the foundation of good government. This is the year of good government. That's what the mayor said. Good luck. We'd like to hear about good government in all its many forms, especially in places like Chester, Pennsylvania that really need good government. Well, that's our show. Thanks for listening. Please like us and share us with your friends and review us right here where you're listening. Check out our website, goodgovernmentshow.com, for extras. Help us keep telling stories of good government in action everywhere. Join us again for another episode right here. I'm Dave Martin, and this is the Good Government Show. The Good Government Show is produced by the Good Government Institute, a nonprofit organization promoting civic engagement and civic education. All donations to the show help promote trust in government. You can donate at goodgovinstitute.org. That's goodgovinstitute.org. Executive producers are Jim Ludlow, Dave Martin, that's me, and David Snyder. Jason Stershik is our editor and producer. Join us again to hear good stories about our government right here on the Good Government Show.
This podcast is part of the Democracy Group.